Hi everyone, welcome, hello. So I wanted to share with you, it's hot here. I don't like air conditioning, so I don't run it unless it's super hot. But so if I'm sweating, I apologize. I wanted to share with you though about justice and sort of an inborn sense of justice that we are all born with. And what happens, children most children speak up when there is an injustice that happens. They either speak up or they cry. Like they have big feelings about it. And what oftentimes happens is that adults, we squash that. And I'm talking also even about feelings of around, seeing something that's racist or that's unfair to somebody else. And we see these things at a very, very young age. And again, most children, thanks for sharing the love. Let me know who's on here. Most children know right away. They feel off. It feels bad to them when somebody is treated poorly. And then what oftentimes happens is the adults around them tell them that that's the way things are supposed to happen or not happen. Like they tell them some story that the children start to believe. And it's really unfortunate because one of the best things we can do to come to against racism, to raise a society that has equity and equality for people is to listen to children. I'm not saying let children make decisions. I'm saying to let children express their feelings to you, because let them share their injustice, their sense of injustice with you. Nurture that. That's what one of the best things we can do as parents is nurture our children's sense for judgment and justice, because it's actually so natural for them. We can see the pain on children's young, I'm talking about really young children's faces when something unjust happens. And no matter how small or how big it is, it's just someone's talked to negatively or talked down at, for example, or demeaned in some way. Children know that and they feel bad about it. And we have a natural process within our bodies and brains to regain equilibrium. And that process has to do with offloading the tension that builds around experiencing an injustice. Hi, Dee. And so it's so helpful for our children and our society and our culture if we can listen to our children's sense of injustice. And it doesn't mean necessarily the words that they're saying, because children don't understand how the world works either. They just know that it feels bad. And so the way it looks when they're offloading that tension is it looks like crying or shaking. It might look like anger, right? If there is a sense of injustice that happens, it's not unusual for a feeling of anger to be present. And so we can actually, especially when children are young, is the time to support our children in actually having anger, having healthy anger and expressing it, and really empathizing and relating to their anger and the feeling of injustice that they are experiencing. And that really has to do with indignation. Like that would be a really good word for it. If a child has a sense of indignation that's so natural. Hey, Julie. So I just wanted to share that with you today. And I see this with children I work with. I see this with parents I work with all the time. And this is something I've looked at and read about and have really spent a lot of time looking at, is this natural sense that children have this experience of indignation. Hi, Talia. When they are experiencing an injustice happening. They don't know how to write it. They don't know how to maneuver through relationships or especially the adults around them. But when we nurture and actually allow them to feel their indignation, it's so nice to have you here, Talia. When we allow them to have their feelings of indignation and not try to justify it or reason with them that, well, this is the reason why this has happened, or even to tell them it's going to be all right. Like this is for adults and you don't need to worry about this. Don't worry, sweetheart. Even those phrases squashes a child's feelings, squashes these feelings of indignation. And so it's much more helpful if we actually open up our hearts, we move in close, we listen, we accept their feelings for what they are. We don't try to fix them. We don't try to give the child advice or fix what they're experiencing. We allow them to have those feelings. This is one of the best things that we can do in order to nurture our children's sense of judgment, morality, right and wrong, a sense of how to treat people. And of course, there's many other things that are involved with this, such as like how we treat people and so forth. But I just wanted to share with you the power that we have as parents to be able to listen to the hurt that a child feels when they experience somebody being wronged or themselves being wronged. And maybe just give you an example of this. This is so incredibly valuable. You're welcome, Talia. I'm just going to give you an example. In my own life, I don't always respond positively or warmly with my kids. Just the other day, I had a really bad night's sleep because my dog that we had over here started barking at 3 a.m. for a solid 4 hours, and it's my daughter's responsibility to take care of the dog. So I was very sharp and with my daughter, and I kind of went too far, I would say. Hi, Roderick. Hi, Blair. And I was sharp with her, and eventually ended up apologizing because that really is my own issue, right? It's not hers. And yes, I had the discussion with her that it's her responsibility and she needs to take the dog out if this happens again. And she understood that, but she didn't need to really deal with my sharpness. And that can really bring up indignation in a child. Like if we are too harsh for what's happening, and we actually don't need to be harsh in order to set limits. We do not need to be harsh when we set limits. We can actually set limits with warmth. And so you got most of my name there, Roderick. Thank you. And so, yes, we can set limits with warmth, and that's a whole other discussion. But what I'm really wanting to focus on today is that children, it's good for children to have a sense of indignation. It's good that children, if they feel wrong, that they can cry about that they can express themselves, that they can have feelings about it, and we allow those feelings to happen. This is really what I have found has helped so many children to gain a stronger sense of who they are as people, a sense of self-esteem, a sense of what is right and wrong, and to trust themselves when they experience someone having a wrong happening, whether it's discrimination or whether it's an injustice happening, that can deepen in children, and we can help them to trust in their own insights and trust in their own instincts when we can allow them to have those feelings, even if it's about us. And that can be one of the hardest things, because as parents, as adults, it's very common that we think we're justified in our actions. And so, being justified in our actions really, quite truthfully, isn't important. What's really much more important is that our children can trust their instincts, and they have natural instincts, and we can help them hone those instincts in around justice and indignation and injustice, that they can, that we can help them to strengthen because we listen to them, especially at a very, very young age. And that is one of the greatest gifts that we can give to our children. And it is one of the greatest gifts we can give to society as well. If we want to make change around social justice and the the challenges that we see in our country now, this is one of the things that you can do, and it's a very powerful thing that you can do. So I am so happy you made it here today, and just thank you so much for showing up. And I would love your comments. You know, what are your thoughts about this? This doesn't resonate with everybody, I am sure. And this might be a radical idea, but there are actually lots of people who do this kind of work, who really hone their skills in on learning how to listen to children for a variety of reasons. And one of the many reasons is so that their children can learn to trust themselves, and that the relationship between the parent and child can grow. If a child is always relying on the judgment of the adults, do you think that child's going to be able to grow up with, you know, a solid foundation of their own judgment? Absolutely not. So helping that child, giving the support that that child needs to hone in their judgment is an amazing thing to be able to do. So hi, Tamara. Thank you for the love. So that's what I really wanted to share today. This is such a powerful topic for me. It's an important topic. It's something that I found when my kids were younger, and has made a massive impact on how I have parented my children and how I've supported them. So I wanted to thank you for being here today. And yeah, I would love to hear your comments on how this sounds to you, actually listening to your children's indignation. Is that something that you have done? All right, everyone. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a beautiful, amazing day. Bye.